Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to basically do a React video. I've seen some people do this, but I've never seen the hacking ones, and I'm just curious. So I've seen some of these movies. I haven't gone through this video. I am a hacker, but I haven't seen, again, all these movies. We're not going to go through all of them today. I'll probably make this a two-part series. But basically, I want to go through these movies and kind of explain the realism of it, and if it's actually realistic or if it's just all, you know, smoke and mirrors, basically. So this one's Snowden. I've actually seen this movie. This is the first one. I've seen it. It's okay, I guess, but I actually know the story of Snowden very well. So I know already this movie is kind of inaccurate. So it's got the general premise, but it's kind of inaccurate. So we'll go through it and we'll kind of just break down the scenes and see what we're working with here. So let's go ahead and get started.
It's everywhere. Which means you don't have to sit in the ditch eating MREs or dodging mortar fire. It means that if there is another 9/11, it'll be your fault. Just as the last one was my generation's.
Okay, so that's actually a really good reference. So he references that 9/11 was that generation's fault. Okay, so for those of you that don't know what happened with 9/11, they had the information, they knew it was coming, but each different intelligence community had different pieces, and they didn't put it all together because they didn't speak to each other. They were very competitive, not so much working together as we are today with like the CIA, NSA, FBI, all that stuff. They didn't share information. So where he's saying it's their fault, obviously they didn't do the attack. Obviously, we know that. But they could have prevented it if they weren't so standoffish and would have worked together. And that's what they're trying to prevent. That's actually the reason, if you guys don't know, that Snowden even got the job he got, because he was super underqualified. And they looked for anybody that was technically sound and could do the tasks they needed because they were so scared of something like that happening again. So that's why Snowden got the job. If you guys are wondering, he was, again, super underqualified. But let's go ahead and keep going.
Believe me, you do not want to live with that burden.
I could imagine that's pretty tough.
We're going to start with an aptitude test. Each of you is going to build a covert communications network in your home city. You're going to deploy it, back up your site, destroy it, and restore it again.
So, okay, so number one, first things first, we'll go ahead and start with this aptitude test. Snowden never took this. He might have taken something, but it wasn't, if you read his book, he wasn't going to fail out. Basically, once he was hired on as the spy for the NSA, they put him through training, yes, but he never describes a scene or a situation where he thought he was going to just bomb out like this. He basically describes the situation as they taught him everything from the ground up. So this test would have been at the end, most likely, after he learned everything, not at the beginning. Now, that's just based off his information, not off of anything I know specifically other than what he said. So let's go ahead and keep going.
The point of this exercise is to keep your infrastructure up and running securely. The average test time is 5 hours. If you take more than 8, you will fail.
Also, I don't really, no offense, I don't really see them having him create a running network for a city and then destroying it and backing it up, because backing it up is pretty simple. I don't know why, maybe just for redundancy purposes, but I don't really see a need for them to prove that you can restore a system. That's pretty simplistic. So again, I don't know what they're going for here, but it all looks good for Hollywood, obviously. Okay, so this one I remember because I remember it in the movie. So these are real commands that people would run if you were hacking. For setting up the network, I'm not really sure why he's running an nmap scans on his own network unless he's just checking the vulnerabilities. The other thing I noticed here is, unless you have it set up for a reason, he does have. So there's a couple things. Number one, you notice right here he has nmap attack SP 10.14.00.24. Okay, that's a legit nmap scan. But then down here he had to run sudo on the same exact nmap scan. It's the exact same. So that doesn't really make sense why you'd have to run sudo on that, but not on this. Depending on your operating system, it would be the same overall. The other thing I noticed is he doesn't have any commands that, so you notice he's got these commands here, but he doesn't have anything in there that says run it in the background. There's commands with specific syntaxes that can run it in the background, and he doesn't have that. So this information would be pouring out. You wouldn't just see 1, 2, 3, 4 commands. You would see the information being poured out too. Again, that's all relative because theoretically you can obviously make your system do whatever you want it to. So if he had this pre-built system that he's working on, it's possible technically. I'm just saying these commands don't make a lot of sense here. Obviously he's extracting zip files and things like that. That makes sense, whatever. But as far as the in-map scans, it doesn't make sense to sudo this one and not this one when it's the exact same scan. And then the other thing, well, let's see what he says here. I don't remember. I have it sped up a little bit, by the way.
No, sir.
You don't have to tell me when you completed a stage.
No, I finished the whole thing.
It's been 40 minutes.
38.
What?
38 minutes.
Okay, let's see where you screwed up.
That's actually kind of realistic. So I know I keep pausing a lot, but there are a lot of people that are very high up in the cybersecurity world that I don't want to say are closed-minded because you have to be open-minded in cybersecurity to even exist, but where they think they know they know it, right? And then there's someone that comes in. This happens quite often actually, where someone comes in that doesn't have that, that this is how it's done mentality, and they break it open and it's a totally different thing. So this is actually kind of realistic. This would happen at times. I don't know if Snowden actually did something like this, but it is possible. It does happen quite often where someone that's from the outside that doesn't have that much knowledge, not saying he doesn't, he clearly has knowledge, but where they don't think the same way as someone that's been doing it for 20 years. And so they see things differently, and that's what's happening here. He saw something different, a different way to do it. Okay, and you see here, all he did was change directory into the backup, and he's looking for basically each zone or whatever.
You didn't say we had to do it in order, sir, so I broke the sequence to save time, and I automated the backup process to run as I built the site.
Eyes on screens.
So if you hear what he did there, I have a very tough time believing that he would be the first person to think of that. I'm sure someone would have asked the question many times throughout this class. I don't believe someone would not think of, hey, we can just have it backing it up as I'm creating it. You're just making 2 copies. But again, this is the movie's out in 2016. This is early cyber, so maybe he did think of it first. But it's actually pretty okay. Black Hat. I've never seen this, so I don't know.
You asked him to change his password?
Okay, so this happens all the time. This is one of the #1 ways to get in. So far, this is very realistic. This is a phishing campaign, or this is spear phishing most likely because he's actually attacking a specific guy. Probably a very important person. I've never seen this movie. I don't know what's going on. But he's asking him to change the password in light of recent attacks, things like that. This happens all the time. Let's see if he actually gets it. Okay, so he's actually telling him to download a file. And if you notice, that was an Excel file. If you have an Excel file with macros enabled, it's extremely easy to get to basically hack your machine. There could be all kinds of back-end stuff going on.
He downloaded the PDF. What he downloaded was the keylogger.
Okay, so he downloaded a keylogger. That's actually 100% legit. So what that means is he downloaded this PDF. It's going to look like a PDF. He's going to open it. It's going to say password guidelines, whatever, everything that you think it's going to say. But in the background, he's got a keylogger going. So now everything he types is being sent to the other guy. Now, to be fair, nowadays, it's very possible that this would happen. This happens all the time. But you see a lot better training nowadays. You don't see as many people just openly clicking on links, but it definitely happens. Okay, so you're watching him type it in.
Got it.
I don't know why the camera's underneath the keyboard. That's not really making sense, but whatever. So you see he's got his password, and you notice he went to something else. Typically, your passwords, if they're like that, they're going to be the same. So you've heard this term, don't use the same password for everything. This is why. It happens all the time. Okay, so he's in. Whatever it is he's trying to get in, he's in.
Now we wait.
Yeah, this will be the last one we'll watch. We'll try to keep these short, but I'll keep this video. Okay, so I'll just start with this. This is how most hacking scenes start. Number one, yes, it's very possible to type that fast and do everything this fast, obviously. But typically, hacking is a very slow, methodical process. You see a lot of off-the-cuff hacking on movies where it's like, okay, we need to get in, like, and they start typing they're in, right? That's not typically how it's going to work. Typically, you're going to do a recon. You're going to do passive, active reconnaissance. You're going to start scanning the networks. You're going to start trying to actually gather as much information as you can before you actually start that process. So this guy just going a mile a minute, that's great, but in reality, you want to make sure 100% you don't make a mistake, because if you make one mistake, you could get caught very, very easily. So is it doable? Absolutely. Is this typically how someone's hacking? Not realistically. You probably have a team of people and you're doing it slow, methodically, and you guys are doing it intelligently. So this scene's moving so fast, it's kind of hard to see what they're typing and stuff, so I've seen this movie, but it's been a long time, so. Okay, so I can't really tell what he did there. It looks like he already had something physically in the machine. Either that or he turned something on. Okay, so he clicked something on. So his machine already had something in there. Someone had already infiltrated him at some point. So clearly they're watching him. They know he's the hacker. Okay, let's go back to that. Okay, so this is just an Nmap scan on one port 6777. They're running the script IEC backdoor.nse. Basically, they're looking to see if this is vulnerable or not for this specific backdoor. The way he's typing is very realistic. I mean, you can type that fast very, very easily. And you notice, okay, so he ran the Nmap scan. The problem is you never see the results of the Nmap scans on these, which is strange. But you notice here, he's actually running the bash script now. So he checked the Nmap scan to see if it's vulnerable, and now he's running it. Okay, and it looks like, so this is a typical thing you see all the time too, is like 17 windows pop open. Not really. I mean, yes, a lot of times you'll have multiple processes going on at once, but you don't click one script and it opens up 20 windows, okay? Typically, you have like your scans going on in here and your script going here, you know, that type of thing, but it doesn't just go, boom, okay, everything's going. Typically, these are all things that are set up well in advance. This is where I say it's slow, methodical. These are not things that you're just going on a whim and just clicking buttons. And I'm not trying to tear these apart. This is actual legit scripts that people would run. These are actual legit scans and vulnerabilities that people are looking for. Okay, so that happens. People do, I don't know if that's what he was doing, but people do hack the power grid. Okay, so we're gonna stop there. Actually, we'll do one more.
Okay.
We'll do one more since we're about 14 minutes. But people do hack power grids. That's very common. Or not I shouldn't say common. It's a target that's common. Okay. So this is something that's very realistic. Getting physical access. This is why there's physical access security controls, such as when you go into important buildings, there's security, there's turnstiles, this is why. If you can get physical access, you already did half the work for them. Okay, so this is actually kind of neat. This is an interesting. What he did there is this is actually the cable provider or the ISP's looks like their box, and he actually used a punch down tool. It looks like to direct connect rather than basically get physical access. He's actually sitting in the middle from you to your ISP, which is Internet Service Provider. So Okay, so he's sending a buffer overflow. That's definitely doable. Um, looks like he's doing a. It's possible he's doing a backdoor. Can't really tell based on what the payload says there, but no system is safe. .mp4. So he's copying a file, which is strange. He's copying a recursive directory file, which is. So this would be an instance where, again, if he's copying it from the other computer, from the target computer, he already has done his reconnaissance. He's already done his research on this because he already knew that file existed. He didn't search for that. So that means he already knows what he's trying to get from that computer or from that server, whatever it is. So keep that in mind, that you're not seeing all the back-end stuff, all the work that they're putting in. Alright, so it looks like whatever they're doing, I'll try and slow it down here. Sending file. Okay, so they're sending a file to the broadcast /dax. So it looks like they're actually manipulating the market, possibly. I haven't seen this. Okay. So this is just this could be for many reasons. It could be for some sort of gain, whether this company's losing a lot of money financially from this or whatever. It could just be a political message, a million things. This could be a hacktivist. This could be whatever that is just basically wanted this to display on the screen. This is a lot of work to display this on the screen with no gain. So what I'm saying is they probably are gaining money through whatever this financial institution is losing money, and then that manipulates the market. There's a million different things they could be doing here with this.
No one's ready for this.
Alright, we're going to stop it there. We'll do Fast and Furious 8 on the next video. But that's pretty much what I'm going to do, guys. I'm just going to react to these. I haven't seen a lot of them. But I just want to explain the process to you guys, that it's not as simple as this looks. It's cool to see. It could be that simple if you made all the tools prior and just clicked a button. But realistically, you're going to be doing a lot of work before you get to that point where you're just pushing a button. Where in a lot of movies, it just shows you as simply type this out, click enter, and boom, you're in. It's not that simple. So let me know if you guys like these videos. If you want to see more, let me know. If you want to see me react to anything else, if you guys have something specific, put it in the comments and let me know. Thanks, guys. See you.